Hi guys, and welcome back to our next personal finance lesson. Today you can see we are going to be looking at income tax, so we're going to learn how to calculate it properly. If your income in a tax year is below a certain value, you do not have to pay any tax. This is what we call a tax allowance. So it's made up of a personal allowance plus any other special allowances that you might be given. These could be if there's any special clothing items required for your job, like a uniform, membership of professional bodies. So all teachers have to pay a yearly fee to the GTC to allow us to continue to teach. And any equipment, so if you are required to buy equipment for your job, you can claim tax back on that. So the personal allowance is the amount of income a person can get before they have to pay any tax. So you can see here from 2019 to 2020, the personal allowance was £12,500, but back in 2016 it was only £11,000. So typically each year it increases a wee bit. The income limit means that you have to be earning underneath, so in this case, £100,000 to be able to get your personal allowance. So if you were earning £100,001, you would then have to pay tax, even including the personal allowance. So your tax bands tell you how much tax you pay depending on how much you earn, and these are the current tax bands in Scotland for the year 2020 to 2021, and that's because our tax year runs from April through to March instead of January to December. So that will be from April 2020 to March 2021. So we're about to enter a new tax year now. So what a lot of people hear when they see tax, and for example, if you look at the high rate here, it's saying that it's 41%. So a lot of people think, oh my goodness, 41%, that's almost half of my wage, but it's not really. You're only paying 41% of any amount of money that you make between £43,431 all the way up to £150,000. So we have to split our salary up and work out the different sections of tax that we are going to be earning. Example number 1, Bryony earns £24,000 a year. How much tax will she pay? So let's have a look. She's earning 24,000, so she will get her tax-free section here, and then 24,000 is between our 12,501 to 43,430. So we don't need to care about the other two tax bands there because Bryony is not earning enough. So because Bryony has that tax-free allowance, what we are saying then is that from £0 all the way up to the 12,500 of the allowance, it's 0%, so she needs to pay £0 in tax. She is not being taxed anything, she gets to keep the £12,500. But we're then going up to the rest that she pays, which is the £24,000. So we need to subtract the previous bracket because we were saying up until this point she didn't have to pay anything. So that means that we've got £11,500 that can be taxed at 20% according to our table. So what I need to do is find 20% of my 11,500. So we times by 20, divide by 100. And that gives us £2,300. So for this bracket here, she's paying 2,300. So we see she's not paying 20% of her full salary. It's only that second bracket there. So the 12,500 up to £24,000 there. We would then add up all of the different brackets, but because the only other bracket in this case is 0, the only tax that she pays is going to be £2,300 over the year. James earns £17,450 a year. He has a tax allowance of £8,765. How much income tax is due if his salary is taxed at 20%? So here we are saying that James is allowed up to that £8,765. So he has that as the tax allowance, so that's at 0%, so he pays £0 there. It's just saying that the rest of his wage then is at 20%. So we're going up to 17,450. So we need to subtract. So just so that we know what we're doing here, we're taking his wage, taking off the amount that is tax free, and that tells us then that it's going to be 8,685 that can be taxed at 20%. So a bit like last time then, we are going to find 20% of our 8,685 by times by 20, divide by 100, and that is going to be £1,737. If we're adding up all the brackets together, we're really only adding on 0, so that is the amount of tax James would pay in the year. That's us at the end of section 1, just a wee bit of an easier intro to get us started. I'd like you to try questions 1, 2, 3 and 4, and it's probably a better idea this time to attempt these first and come back for section 2 after. So I would pause your video here and attempt section 1 first, just so you can get some practice at the easier examples. Moving on to section 2 then, Josh earns £48,500 a year. How much tax will he pay? So, same as before, he is getting between 0 and the 12,500 at 0%, so he's paying £0. So he's in that first bracket. 48,000 is also going to be in that second bracket, and then we can see that it actually goes into our third bracket there. 48,000 is higher than the 43,000. So we don't need the last one, but we do need the first three. So my second bracket then is going up to the full amount, because we contain that entire amount, so I'm going to have to write down the £43,430. So this time we're doing the we are going to do the 43,430, take away 12,500, and that is going to give us £30,930 at 20%. And then the rest of his wage then, so we don't reach the max of the third section there, we only go up to the 48,500, so that is the end of my third section. He doesn't earn any more than that, so we can't tax him on anything above that. So what we're going to do is the 48,500 take away 43,430, so that means the remaining £5,070 is taxed at 41%. So you can see here that we're not finding 41% of £48,500. It's only going to be that £5,070 that's into the third bracket that we're taxing. So step number 1 then is to take our 30,930 and find 20% of it. So that is £6,186. So we'll pop that in our next section. And then the second step then is to find 41% of our 5,070. And that is then £2,078.70. So I'm just going to pop a wee arrow here so I'm not squeezing it in. I'm then going to each section and seeing how much tax we calculated for the different bands, and I'm going to add them up. So really what I'm doing is my 6,186 plus £2,078.70. So in total we've got £8,264.70 in tax, which is a lot different to if we found 41% of his whole wage. So 41% is almost £20,000. So there's a big difference between paying £8,000 and £20,000. That's okay. Ailey earns £160,000 a year. How much tax will she pay? So we're going to go through the same process. So she gets her tax free. We're going to ignore, so she's in the tax free bracket. She is in our second bracket. 160,000 is greater than 150,000, so we go over that third bracket and we go into our last bracket. So we're going to need a pretty big diagram this time. So the tax free is going to be 0%, so that is £0. And we are then going up to our second bracket, which finishes at the 43,430. So 43,430, take away 12,500. So we know that this is going to be the same as last time, which was 3930 at 20. And we calculated that one previously, so we had said that the 20% of our 30,930 was £6,186. So we already know that because we calculated that for the last example, and it's just the same. This time though, we are going right up past that 150,000. So we're going to do 150,000 take away 43430. So this time it's going to be 106,570 at the 41%. And then the last section is going up to our 160,000. So 160,000 take away 150 is just 10,000, and that's at the 46% there. So I'm going to go and fill in our two sections then that need calculated still. So my 106,570 times by 41 and divided by 100, that is going to give us £43,693.70. And the last bracket is our £10,000 times by 46 divided by 100. So that's going to be £4,600 in tax for that last bracket. The last thing to do then is to add these three tax brackets up. So that is £54,479.70. If we wanted to know Ailey's salary after tax, so her salary after tax is taken off is just going to be that 160,000 subtracting the £54,479.70. That is going to give us £105,520.30. So that's still a pretty good salary after tax. Well done for sticking with today's lesson. I know that income tax can seem a bit strange. It's not really like anything we've done before, but it is just using our basic numeracy skills. If there are any problems with these questions, pop your problem in the Teams chat or send me an email and I will get back to you as quick as I can. Here's our first three questions for section 2, and then I've popped an exam style question at the end. Remember, you can keep the video up paused on a particular example. If you're needing help with it, go back, watch the video again, put it on a quicker speed if you want to. All we ask is that you try your best, and we will see you in the next lesson.